Good afternoon, everyone. If you want to get a chance to see our Magellanic penguins get some lunch, head on over to the June Keys Penguin Habitat. This is the second of 3 meals of the day for our birds, so this tends to be a little bit more of a snack feed, but our birds are starting to bulk up for their annual breeding season. So I've noticed that they are starting to eat a little bit more than they have in the weeks past, so we'll see how hungry they are right now. We do write down and record every fish that they eat. We get a nice accurate account. This guy is a stare. He's doing a contact call. He heard my voice. He was wondering where I was with the food. So if you guys want to come on over, I am about to start feeding our penguins. And I'll try to multitask, but this little lady here at the bucket right now, her name is Lily. She's really good at stealing fish from the bucket. And like I said, we want to record all of the fish they're eating, so it can get a little tricky. Astaire said he did not want food, but Lily just had 3 herring. That gives her grand total of 5 today. That's a lot of food. That's kind of a typical amount of food for her. She'll probably eat 1 to 2 more. This is her dad, Floyd. So Floyd's had 7 herring today. So this goes in our record system. It's not necessarily important exactly how many fish they eat. It's more about if they're eating and if they're healthy. We do keep track of their calories. So sometimes if they're eating a lot of herring, which is a fattier fish for them, I will try to offer some capelin to kind of even that out. But these guys do pretty much self-regulate. They're Magellanic penguins that are native to South America, so Chile and Argentina. 4 of our birds were rescued from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, kind of far north from where you typically find them. Usually find them in that southern part. Astaire is demonstrating that they're not the best on land. These guys are made for life in an ocean or aquatic habitat. Like I mentioned before, this is kind of a snack for them. So if you come back at about 3:45, the birds will act like they did not eat right now and will probably be a little bit more hungry. But sometimes it just takes them a second to realize the bucket is out here. That's Admiral Fancy Pants. He's one of our more better named penguins, I would say. We got him a few years ago as a part of an SSP, or species survival plan. So we let these guys breed once a year because they only breed once a year. But because of that, we can take our babies or our penguins and trade them to other facilities and really keep the genetics healthy, because we don't want to just breed the same birds over and over again. We kind of want to change it up. They do mate for life, so if they have a pair, they're going to stay with that pair. But some of our bachelors have an opportunity to maybe go to other facilities or wait for us to have some female chicks that they could breed with. But it is all very well organized through something called a stud book. And that stud book takes all of the genetics of all of the Magellanic penguins in a protected environment and sees who's the best fit for who. Doesn't mean it'll work out, but we give it our best shot. That bird's name is Robbie. He is one of our Brazilian rescue birds. He really prefers to have room service. So well, I guess room service would be in his burrow. But he does kind of like to put his feet in the water and kind of wait for me to give him food. He is capable of coming up to the bucket, but I work with these guys 5 days a week, and they know that I'm a sucker for them. So they really get away with as much as they possibly can. They are very curious animals. We do offer penguin encounters 3 days a week where they come outside of their enclosure and hang out with you guys. I might have mentioned it's their annual migration right now. So what's happening as a result of that is they're spending a lot more time in the water. Our buddy, this western gull over here, is making them a little bit nervous. So and again, they've already eaten today, so they're not really hungry. If they are, they will come up to the bucket, You can see Ludwig and I are playing a game of who can reach out further. This is Gats. Gats is a 2-year-old Magellanic penguin. Right now he really likes to snack on capelin. That's the smaller of the 2 fish that I'm offering. People tend to wonder how we know that, and a lot of this is observation. So the more time we spend with these animals, the more we kind of know their personalities and what's going on with them. So some birds are a little bit more shy. They'll take a couple fish from me, but that's really the extent of our relationship. They don't want to hang out or hang out close. Some of these guys really don't mind having me as a buddy, so that's pretty fun. And they are very social, so if you notice, everybody's kind of hanging out in the colony, except Mr. Gats here, who's probably ready for some more capelin. So I'm going to give these guys a few more minutes. As you can see, they're spending most of their time in the water, thinking about eating, but they might wait for that last feed. And they're fully grown at 3 months of age. So the bird I just fed, Wally, he's our youngest bird. He's a year old. This is his older sister by 1 whole day, Dee. Dee is named after Dr. Dee Boersma, who studies these birds in their natural habitat. She actually got their largest breeding colony protected. Oh, we're working on getting the ocean that they live in protected as well. Some of the issues with Magellanic penguins are just making sure there's enough food out there for them. That's Cleo. She's also a year old. I have a feeling Ludwig's going to take a fit. Oh, maybe not. So if you're just joining us, this is the second of 3 feeds for our Magellanic penguins. We offer these birds food 3 times a day. They tend to eat at about 2 out of the 3 feeds. So this is a little bit of a snack for them. There's only one bird that hasn't eaten yet today. Her name is Whatever. That is her name, I promise. She is 17 years young. I'll let you know if I see her. I have a feeling she's going to wait until the last feed because she ate a pretty big amount of fish yesterday. That's one of the things that goes into take caring these guys. A lot of observations, a whole lot of cleaning. But what's most important is that you know the birds. And people always kind of ask how you do that. I've worked with these guys for 8 years, so I've spent a lot of time with them. They all act a little bit different. There isn't anybody that's similar, well, the same. There are some similar birds out there. Andy. Come on, Andy. Come on. Good boy. So I'll be out here for a few more minutes with these guys. Again, if you're just joining us, they're Magellanic penguins. They're native to Chile and Argentina. They're in the banded penguin family, so they don't need ice or snow to survive. In fact, in their natural habitat, they're probably not going to even come in contact with it. We give it to them as enrichment every now and then, and they like to walk on it, kind of pick it up and play with it a little bit. They have very sensitive bills. So since they don't have hands, their bills are one of the ways that they can grab onto different things. In this case, it helps them get out of the water, but it also helps them capture fish. Better eat that. Shim. That was Shim. Yeah. So we had a question about the colored bands on them. So everybody has a different color combination. It does help us with identification. So if it's on the right side of the bird, they're a male. And if it's on the left side of the bird, they're a female. All of it's a number system. But basically the colors like purple, white, orange, that's paddles. When you work with them long enough, though, you kind of notice their faces instead of the band. So if you look at Paddle, she has freckles on her face. It's one of the ways I know it's her. And also the way she eats. She's kind of an eating on the run gal. If you're just joining us, I'm finishing up a feed for our Magellanic penguins. This is the second of 3 feeds of the day for them. So just letting them all kind of hang out. Looks like they're spending a little bit more time in the water today. So I don't think that anyone else is going to come out, but we have 23 Magellanic penguins here at the aquarium. 13 of them did hatch here. Some came to us from other facilities, and 4 of them actually came to us from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It's pretty far north from where you typically find these guys, but they were deemed unreleasable. That means they would need to go to a protected environment to be able to continue their lives. They wouldn't be able to go back out into the ocean. So we started with those 4, and then we slowly had 13 of our own, and some of our other birds came to us from different facilities. Actually seeing if I can get Miss Whatever to come up here because she hasn't eaten yet. Sometimes that happens, but I'm going to keep a close eye on her. So one of the ways we take care of these guys is with preventative health care. If we think anything weird's going on, then we go ahead and let our vet staff know. They usually want to do a blood sample or do some observations on our birds. So when I'm out here, I'm looking at everybody. I'm not just looking at 1 to 2 birds. I'm trying to see all 23. I see them at least once a day. do a head count, but throughout the day we really keep a close eye on them. Even when I walk by the habitat, that's kind of one of the more sneaky ways I take care of these guys. They can see me, but I try to hide and see what their behavior is. Also, these burrows are holes. They have nests, and our birds can go in them, but when they're not in there, I kind of peek through the holes as I'm walking behind the scenes. Every now and then these guys change the way they're acting when they see me. When you're a prey species, you really, really don't want anyone else to know that you don't feel good. That includes me. So I work mostly with birds, but the experience I have working with birds is they really don't like to tell you when they don't feel well. In fact, they tend to pretend they feel great. So it's always good to get an extra look at these guys. And I am all out of herring. I only have capelin. Herring tends to be the fan favorite for our birds. So I'm going to go ahead and give these guys their space. But thank you guys so much for supporting us. We are a nonprofit organization. So your paid admission is going right back to these guys to give them the care that they need. We'll see if a stare here wants any capelin, and I'll give these guys a little bit of a break.